Ciao friends, this is Liz from SimpleItalianCooking.com. I'm so glad you're here today. I've got such a great recipe. It's a pasta salad, but it's not like a regular pasta salad you would think of. It's a ravioli pasta salad, and it's served cold. So if you've never had ravioli cold before, you are in for a real treat, because this is one of my favorite pasta salads, and this pasta salad is actually really refreshing. And it's pretty much so easy and quick to make that by the time the ravioli is done boiling and cooled, you're ready to mix it all together and serve it. Before we go on, if you like Italian food and you want to hear more really easy recipes, I just want to encourage you to please support us and give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you get notified as we release more and more recipes. So I'm going to go ahead and step you through the process of making this really easy ravioli pasta salad. So you can either do it with me, or you can just listen and watch and actually see how easy it is. So let's get started, no delay. Let's go ahead, and the first thing we're gonna do is start heating up our water so that we can cook the ravioli. So I just have a medium-sized saucepan, and I have it on an induction burner, which I like to use for small recipes because it heats up so fast. So we're going to be doing 4 cups of raviolis, and you want them to be frozen. You don't need to thaw them. While that is happening, while this is cooking, getting to a boiling point, we're going to go ahead and prepare the ingredients. The first thing I want us to do is actually prepare the salad dressing that's going to go on side. It's an Italian salad dressing. It's a very nice dressing. And all you're going to need is some olive oil, some balsamic vinegar, and some dried basil and oregano, which I have some homegrown here, and also just a little bit of cracked pepper. And of course, don't forget, you're gonna need just a few cloves of garlic, so I'm using 2, and I'm gonna mix it in a mason jar because I like to be able to put the screw top and then just shake it to mix it. Really easy. If you don't have that, no problem. Just use a measuring cup and you can mix it with a spoon or a fork or a whisk, whatever you want. So let's go ahead and start with that. Okay, so we want to add to our mason jar 1/3 cup of olive oil. We're using extra virgin olive oil, okay? For the balsamic vinegar, we just want 1/4 cup. And this salad will serve about 4 servings. We want about 1 teaspoon of dried basil. If you have fresh basil, that's completely fine. Okay, so we added the basil. And the oregano, we're gonna do half the amount of oregano to basil. And that's just because oregano has a very distinct, strong flavor. And we wanna make sure that we actually don't overpower the recipe. So we add half a teaspoon of the dried oregano, and there's no parsley in this recipe. I have 2 garlic cloves here, and you can modify if you really like it more garlicky, add more garlic. If you're really hesitant about that, you can go ahead and cut back, but I'm just gonna do 2 cloves, and one of these cloves is really big. And we're going to mince them, so because we want that really, really small. So go ahead and peel the garlic clove and add them to, look at this. It's actually 2 cloves in here in one thing, so no wonder it was so big. And then we're just gonna put it through the press, the garlic press, and mince it. Okay, and then we're gonna add just a little bit of cracked black pepper, and we're gonna do 1/4 teaspoon of that. I'm just gonna eyeball it and just put a little bit in here. All right, so next I'm just gonna put the lid on and give it a good shake. And actually the water is already boiling, so we need 4 cups of ravioli, and you can modify that amount as much as you want. By the way, this recipe is just as good as leftovers as it is when it's served like right away. So don't worry about if you can't use it all up. Don't worry about that. If you make too much, it makes amazing leftovers. It really, really does. So these raviolis are not little tiny mini ones. I think for those real mini ones, it's like 13 per serving. These are larger, and so they're, according to the package, it's 5 ravioli per serving. So I have at least 20 here. That'll be 4 servings. And again, modify according to how much you like. Use this as a guideline. All right, so when we're cooking ravioli, you want to bring it up what I do is I bring it up to a boil because it cools down because we just added them frozen. And then we lower the temperature to a low boil. And you want to just low boil for a few minutes until they start coming up. And make sure to follow the instructions on your package because they might be different depending on the manufacturer. By the way, I'm using cheese ravioli, okay? And so this is gonna take about 6 minutes, and it's just about coming up to a boil already. So I'm just gonna maintain a low boil on that for about 6 minutes. And you know, a lot of times when cooking ravioli, I just wanna say about how long you should cook it. A lot of times when cooking pasta, we like it al dente a little bit. And I've seen other people out there with pasta salads that say to do al dente for a pasta salad, and I never really understood that because you're not adding hot sauce onto it afterwards that's going to let it get just a little bit more cooked. And you know, I know when cooking it with regular pasta dishes, you don't want it mushy unless that's the way you like it. But with ravioli, I think the worst thing would be is to have it al dente ravioli for a ravioli pasta salad that's going to be served cold. You don't want it like hard and chewy. You know, you don't want that chewiness unless that's really what you like. I have found that it's unpleasant, so I really like to slightly overcook my ravioli because I'm serving it cold, and I just find that that makes that softer texture. It doesn't taste mushy when it's served cold. Totally up to you, so if you like that or not. All right, so what next? Well, we have the dressing, so the next thing we're going to add are 2 of my favorite ingredients in the world, and they are tomatoes. And you can use cherry tomatoes, grape tomatoes, or use a meaty, larger tomato like Aroma, San Marzano, because you want that meatiness. And then we're going to use, we're going to cut up part of an onion, and we're going to slice it really, really thin. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so I'm just going, these are straight from the store, so I'm actually going to rinse them first. And I just want enough to have 2 cups of chopped tomatoes. So that's what we want to do. Okay, my ravioli are definitely done cooking because they're all risen to the top. But I am just going to turn this down a tad bit so it's almost really a simmer. See, the problem with cooking ravioli at a high boil is that they often separate. They're kind of a delicate pasta, so especially with that stuffing inside. So that's why we want to do it at a low boil. And you can chop your tomatoes as fine as you want. I like to chop them finely. I mean, heck, you could even put them through like a NutriBullet and just do like a quick pulse or a chopper. I mean, once you know how to master the salad, because it's definitely not hard, and you know what ingredients are in there, the more you make it, the more you're going to know what you like. You're not even going to need to like measure things out. So I'm just doing it for this video. And as with most of my recipes, well, all my recipes, unless I specify, you know, you use what you have. You know, just modify. Okay, so that's about another cup, so 2 cups there, with some to spare. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we need a half a cup of sliced onions. Now, technically, you can do diced, and that's totally fine. I really like to do sliced because you don't want the onion to overpower this dish. You want it to add a real subtle flavor, and so when you cut them, when you slice them, and they are like paper thin, then I find that adds just enough flavor, and you can cut them like this. So these are really, really thin, like super thin. Okay, good. So that was about a quarter, I guess about a half, about a third. So that was about a third of a very small onion. I just add that in there without the skin. And then what we're going to do, is we're going to chop up 1 cup of Kalamata olives. I have Kalamata olives on hand. If I had black and Kalamata, I would like to do a mix. I like the black olives with the salad, but I also really like the Kalamata. So you don't have to go either one. I've actually done it with all black too, and that tastes just as good. So I am going to chop up the olives. I really recommend buying pitted. It saves you a ton of time, and you don't have to worry about accidentally leaving a pit in one of them like I once did. And my husband started choking because I told him they were pitted. So just slice the olives, chop them roughly, whatever you want. And you're just going for about half the amount, whatever the tomatoes were. So if you use 2 cups of tomatoes like I did here, then you want 1 cup of olives. Okay, so now we add the olives. Now what we're going to do is take the ravioli, and again, I'm not concerned about with overcooking them because I think being nice and soft is great for a pasta salad like this. It tastes really good. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and also run it under cold water because I don't want to serve it warm. So I want to make sure that the ravioli have really actually cooled down, because the inside, whatever's in the stuffing, you don't want that to be really hot because you don't want anyone to burn themselves when you told them, hey, it's cold. Okay, so you want to make sure that the ravioli is fully drained because you don't want that water, you don't want this to be watery. So we go ahead and add that in. What do we got? We got the dressing. Going to mix that up. Okay, so the the dressing smells really good. And we pour that in. And go ahead and mix it gently, being careful not to break the ravioli.
Thanks for lemonade, sweetie. See how nice I am, people?
And just so I'll zoom in on the camera and you can see how the ravioli salad looks. So I just want to take a bite. And you can see how quick this is. I haven't even had time to clean up my cutting board and everything. I mean, that's literally how fast this took. And it's really, really good. Well, I hope you enjoyed this recipe as much as we do here, and I just want to thank you so much again for watching this video, and I really encourage you to hit the like button and to hit subscribe so that you can get notified every time we come out with a new recipe. And I'll also put a link on the bottom so that you can join our newsletter and get more recipes on a weekly basis. Well, thank you so much for watching. Grazie e ciao.